Hey Internet, what's going on? This is going to be about the 2013 Millrose Games. I'm sorry this is coming a bit late, but I've been swamped with schoolwork, and you know, it snowed today in Tucson. It snowed. Like, I live in Tucson, Arizona, and it snowed. I was wearing shorts yesterday, and it was 75 degrees. Ridiculous. Okay, but anyways, 2013 Millrose Games. It was the 106th Millrose game to be put on. Quite the feat. And of course, this was broadcasted last Saturday, February 16th. Today is the 20th. Again, I apologize, but schoolwork, right? Okay, there was several high school events there. What can you say? They're up and coming. They're great runners. But let's try to stick to the pro and the college level. There was a college men's 4x4. Usually at this Millrose Games, it's in usually an all-black school kind of a race. School by the name of Essex County won with a 3:13. Very fast. Next up was the women's 60-meter dash. A one English Gardner from University of Oregon, very fast runner. She won the race in a 7.19. The race was pretty much even throughout until about 7-8ish meters to go. The English Gardner, she really kind of pulled ahead of the pack, and she won it. Next was the men's 60-meter dash. Doc Patton. I mean, wow, what a race, right? He destroyed that race. It was all his from before the blocks. He ran a 6:50, a new world leading time for the year. Quite an impressive feat. Man, he got the lead like 25 meters to go, and no one was close to him at all. The next was a high school girls 4x2. 4x2 is not something you usually see at meets. I mean, even high school meets, it's kind of strange to see it. Yeah. So let's move on. College men's 4x8, Penn State. It was theirs from the beginning. Again, they were the favorites to start. And wow, did they just take that race. They ran a 7:21.37. They had some great handoffs, and their anchor, man, he's gonna make a great middle distance runner. I'm not sure what his name is, but he is a fantastic runner. Really good kick. Good sportsmanship. He continued his race, even though he had already won. His team had already won. But he's going to turn out to be a great runner. And after that, they showcased the men's 60-meter hurdles. Jeff Porter won, a 7:59 he won with. Only won by 100th of a second. It was really strange to see, other than Jeff Porter. Trey Hardy was there, the silver medalist from last year's Olympics. In the decathlon. He was by far the tallest guy out there. I think maybe he's run the hurdles to improve his time, his form, his start, his overall speed, his code. That's obviously something his coach wanted to do, because you never see decathletes at these kind of meets. They're more of a record-breaking and form-improving meets, not for big name athletes. Jason Richardson was also in that race. He did not do terribly well. I think he finished third. Yeah. Well, anyways. Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Okay, after that was the women's 60-meter hurdles. Yvette Lewis won that. Quite the strange voice on her, but that's not what we're here to talk about. She ran a 7.84. She didn't lead for most of the race. She she came with about 12 meters to go. She came into the lead. I mean, she held it good, fast race from all the women out there, and she had a great start. After that was the women's Wanamaker Mile. What a race. What a race. Mary Kane was back from 2 weeks ago at the Boston meet, the New Balance Invitational. Jordan Hasse, Mary Kane. Jordan Hasse, very impressive as always. She didn't really finish that well, but she ran a good race. Mary Kane finished second in the race behind a Canadian named Sheila Reid. Sheila Reid ran a 4:27.02, a Canadian record. But Mary Kane, 16 years old, competing at a professional level. That is outstanding. Mary Kane broke her record that she set 2 weeks ago, girls' high school mile record, by 4 seconds. I mean, what is she going to do in the future if she's doing this now? Yeah. After that, another strange event that you do not normally see, the men's 600 meters. Not really a sprint, not really a middle distance, kind of in between. Nick Simmons, Dwayne Solomon were there, some big names. Nick Simmons especially, one of the fastest 800-meter runners ever. I wonder if he's still dating Paris Hilton. Doesn't matter. Not what we're here to talk about, right? Simmons started out really slow. I mean, after they broke from the lane assignments, he was far off the pack. He was way back there. It was strange. Almost, of course, like he was running in 800 meters and he still had time to run his strategy and catch up. And I'm not really particularly fond of his strategy. Simmons would end up finishing 4th in the race. I believe there was 6 runners. Dwayne Solomon finished 2nd. And Eric Sowolski finished with a 1:15.61, a new American record, and the 5th fastest time in history. Kind of came out of nowhere. I'd never seen his name before, and I was real surprised to see him there. With women's long jump, Deloche won that. She beat Brittany Reese. They are now tied all time for their competitive matches against each other at 10-10. So, we're going to move on to the men's 2-mile featuring Bernard Legat and Evan Yeager. Evan Yeager is what an interesting character, right? I mean, just his rise over the last year and a half. I mean, before then he was a nobody on this scene. Anyways, Bernard Legat, he'd wanted to break the American record. That was his plan all along. He started out very fast. Yeager behind him. It was just those two. For the entire race, they were right behind the 2 pacers. And for the entire race, it was just them. No one else in the field was even contending. For the first half of the race, it was mostly single file, and they ran a 4.05 for their first mile. Very fast. After that, the back runners kind of broke off, and it was just Yeager and Bernard Legat running. I was really surprised at how well Yeager stayed with Legat. I mean, there's such an experience gap between those two. Legat, 38, running many times, holds all the records between the 1500 and the 5K for the Americans. And little old Evan Yeager, coming a steeplechaser. But he did surprisingly well. with 3 laps to go in the race, Legat started his kick. He pulled away from Jaeger. Yeah, with about 2 laps to go, he'd put about 10, 11, 12 meters on Jaeger. You know, enough to for Jaeger to realize he's not going to win this race. With 1 lap to go, he was 25 meters ahead of Jaeger, and Legat would end up setting a new American record. Excuse me, a new American record. You know, we're all proud of him. He ran an 8:09.49 for 2 miles. Wow, that was a record that he took from Galen Rupp by 2/10 of a second, 2/10 of a second, if I remember. And Galen Rupp had taken it from Bernard Legat the year before. So we're flip-flopping in between these 2 athletes. But the man who finished last in this race, I say last, I think it was 6th place, Edward Sherrick. He set a high school boys 2-mile record at 8 minutes 39 seconds. And I believe Jaeger would end up finishing around 4th. Next up was the women's 600 meters. You know, again, you never see this. Erica Moore was there this time, the 800 runner. She started the race. She was in 1st, I believe. Oh, great. She was in 1st. And Alicia Montano, she would end up taking this race. She did a great job. This was the 2nd fastest time in history that someone had run this. Alicia Montano would end up being running at 1:23.59. She missed the world record by 100th of a second, but it wouldn't have counted anyways because this is not an IAAF meet. But it was a USA track and field meet, so she did get the American record. The high school boys mile, pretty exciting. You know, great athletes they're going to be when they go to college in the next year or 2. There's a lot of them on the track, about 25 of them. Really jostly start. Ben Malone would end up winning it with a 4:12.62. Next, we're going to move on to the women's 400 meters. Mary Weinberg would win at 52.19. After they broke, they think they break after the first curve. She was 5 meters ahead of the rest of the pack, and she would hold that until the finish. But Frances McCory would come back. She's the American record holder, and she would only finish behind Mary Weinberg by 100th of a second. Very close racing happened there. I mean, through this entire meet, it's supposedly the fastest indoor track in the world, and it was really proving it. Up after that was the Catholic High School Boys 4x800 meters. Kellenberg Memorial took that at 7:48.37. The anchor for Kellenberg, fantastic job. Let me say, young man, fantastic job. I was really impressed with him. Then after that was the last race of the day. The men's Wanamaker Mile. Matthew Centrowitz was there. Lopez Lamong and Lawi Lang, who goes to Arizona. This was another amazing race. Matt Centrowitz was looking to break the American record, and so he had asked the Rabbit to run a 1:54 half mile for their first half mile, and well, it was just an amazing race. Let me go through it for you. Very quick start. I mean, they were on pace to get that. It was single file right after the first lap. I mean, extreme, and they were close too. There was, there could have been a lot of clipping and a lot of people going down had they been another inch or two closer. Like I said, Centrowitz asked for a 154 half mile to be done, and they came in at a 153.23. Central was probably very happy with that. Central was in second at the half. Lawi was in third, excuse me, and Lopez Lamong was in fourth. Right after that, Central became blocked in. He couldn't really do much with that, so he lost a few places and a lot of time off that. At the bell lap, Lamong was in first. Centro was in second. Lamong held on very well. Centro tried to kick with off the final curve with the 50 to go. He could not get there. He almost got there. Okay, and so the first three finishers for this race all broke Bernard Lagat's mile time. Just impressive, this Bernard Lagat, such an impressive athlete, and three of these young men came and beat one of his records. Lopez Lamong would finish in a 351.21, which was a Millrose Games record. Oh, shoot. I believe Lali Lalang got 5th place in that. I wasn't so sure. And then the 4th place runner was from Tulsa University, I think University of Tulsa. He set a new collegiate record, so congrats to him. Well, that's going to do it for us today. The next meet that's going to be broadcasted will be on February 23rd, 2013 on ESPN. It is the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. That starts at 3:45 Eastern, and that is this Saturday. So hopefully you'll tune in, and thank you for watching.